In this one, I'm going to answer the question, is it possible to target farm Archnemesis mods? But first, a bit of a backstory. While leveling through maps, I started to see certain patterns with regards to certain gems only dropping in higher tier maps. Or so I thought. So last weekend, I decided to run about 50 maps, and I created a matrix of Archnemesis mod versus map tier. I fully expected to see a situation where certain map mods only dropped in the higher tier maps, and that's not what I found. Looking at the matrix here, which is available on Google Docs, I'll link it in the description below, you'll see that there's really no correlation. It looks pretty even in what you're dropping where. In fact, if we zoom in on the tier 16 map, you'll see that it's really well distributed. It's almost as if it's not even random. It's almost like round robin. So I'd pretty much proven that map tier had no correlation to Archnemesis mod drops, which I've got to say was a little disappointing. I felt like I'd wasted a weekend. So I'm back to square one. I have loads of recipe pieces, but absolutely no mirror image to complete the recipe. And I was still convinced there was some correlation between maps and mods, but my attempt to find it had failed, so I decided to do something a little bit different. I decided to run the maps I didn't like. And there's no map I hate more than Plaza. So this seems a bit random. Why did I do it? In all of the maps I was running maps I liked, and therefore maybe the maps I didn't like contained whatever. Maybe it wasn't map tier, maybe it was the map itself. And I actually dropped an Echoist. So I couldn't leave it there, I had to run it several more times, and I got 2 more Echoists. Everything was good, but by this point I was losing the will to live, because Plaza map was draining the last of my soul. I hate that map with a passion that can't be described. So I decided to check back on PoDB to see if there was any new information that had landed. Maybe someone had found something that I hadn't. And off the link that showed the recipes, there was now a link that said mod area. So I clicked on it. And it turns out there's a rather clever person called Rhymesy who determined that there was a direct correlation between monsters in maps and what they dropped. And now each mod had a little list of all the places that you could find these mods. Why do I do this to myself? I should have just checked the internet before I even started testing this. So as many of you will know, I decided to share how I was making profit at the beginning of the league using these recipes. So what I decided to do to add value to this is actually boil down all of the map location areas and work out the optimal maps to run in order to complete my recipe. So here it is, and I'll put all the text on the screen in a list so you can print screen and keep it close to your mouse while you're leveling. And here we go. The Coves map dropped 5 of the recipe pieces. The Promenade map drops 4, along with Port and Plaza. Dropping 3 pieces is Peninsula and Ashen Woods. Now there are more map locations, but these were the optimal ones when I boiled all the data down and grouped them together. As many of you pointed out, I was a bit late to the party with my original video, and Grimro had already done a video a couple of days before that had my recipe, but in a different order. So the advice I just shared will help with both. However, because scarabs have been dropped in so big a quantity and so many players have been doing it, the price of scarabs has absolutely plummeted through the floor. So they're worth practically nothing now. As my recipe was primarily currency targeted, it hasn't depreciated by anywhere near as much, and I'm still dropping exalts and chaos in droves. As a result, I've never had such a profitable league start. In fact, I've made more currency in the last 3 weeks than I made in practically the whole of the previous league. I've spent about 9x on my league starter, and I still have 14 exalted orbs and 177 chaos left over. This is obscene currency. Now it is important to note, if you get a map mod that changes the monsters on the map, it will not work. Also, you're not guaranteed a drop from each map, but running these maps will definitely help you get the currency much faster than running all the other maps. So if you haven't seen my original video, I strongly suggest you check it out. There'll be a link in the top right of the screen right about now. I do hope that you found this video useful or mildly entertaining. If you have, then please tickle that like button. It will like it a lot. And with that, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.